Hello students, so up till now we have completed up till 10 chapters and which will be included in your terminal examination. So it's time for revision now. Start from the first chapter, living world and classification of microbes, that we had done in the first beginning part. Okay, so about revision, we are going to discuss about the Whittaker's classification, 5 kingdom classification of living world. In the living world, basically we classified organisms into two types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes, on the basis of the type of cell they are having in their bodies. Now, prokaryotes means the primitive type of cells they are having, where the nuclear membrane is not there. All the material inside the nucleus is mixed up with the cytoplasm inside the cell. So very few organisms today belong to prokaryotic type. They are mostly unicellular and they have been classified by Whittaker into kingdom Monera. Okay, kingdom Monera is the first kingdom where all organisms are unicellular and they do have a prokaryotic cell. On the other hand, eukaryotic cell is a little modern type of cell where all the cell organelles are having a membrane around them. So the material inside these cell organelles are not mixed up with the cytoplasm inside the cell, and the nuclear membrane is also prominent. Now, eukaryotes can be further classified as unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular ones, you all know, uni means one. So, only one cell is their body. On the other hand, multicellular do have more than one cell as a part of their body. The bodies are made up of more than one cell. So unicellular organisms are also a little less, and they have been classified separately by Whittaker into kingdom Protista. This is going to be your second kingdom of 5 kingdom theory by Robert Whittaker. So kingdom Monera was the first kingdom where we have only prokaryotic cell having unicellular organisms. The second kingdom is Protista, where we have mostly unicellular organisms and they do have a cell type eukaryotic, that is modern type of cell where the nuclear membrane is prominent. All the other cell organelles are also membrane bound. Okay. The third category, now coming up to multicellular eukaryotes. They have cells eukaryotic type, but they are multicellular. More than one cell forms their body. They are further classified into 3 types: fungus, plants, and animals. So based on them, they are classified as the third kingdom fungi, fourth kingdom Plantia, and the last of the fifth kingdom is Animalia. We also belong to this kingdom, Animalia. This way, Robert Whittaker scientist classified the complete living world, all the organisms on this earth, into 5 kingdoms. What are they? Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantia, and Animalia. Okay. Now, on what more basis he has classified these organisms into 5 kingdoms that we need to understand? Here you see complexity of the cell structure. Prokaryotes is not at all complex structure. It's a simple cell. Eukaryotic cell is a complex structure. All the cell organelles separately doing their work. They are membrane bound. They do not mix or interfere with the others' work, isn't it? So on that basis, all organisms are basically classified into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. The second theme was complexity of organism. Either the organism will be unicellular, either they will be multicellular. Unicellular means having only one cell, and multicellular ones are having more than one cell as a part of their body. Now, among the unicellulars, you know, amoeba is also a unicellular organism, but the cell of amoeba is eukaryotic type. So, eukaryotic unicellular organism belong to kingdom Protista. Amoeba, Paramecium, Euglena. These type of microorganisms belong to Protista. Then who are coming under the kingdom Monera? Those who have prokaryotic cell and they are unicellular also. A very few organisms today are present in that category that belong to the bacteria category. Okay, bacteria and cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is only called as blue-green algae. Okay, so they are the organisms that belong to the monerans. Now, next is mode of nutrition. Now, plants you all know are autotrophic. They can prepare their own food with the help of photosynthesis, with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll. They have green colored pigment. So autotrophic they are. On the other hand, fungus, this fungi, they are saprophytic. Saprophytic means they absorb nutrients, whatever needed for their growth, from the dead and decaying organisms. Now, plant bodies, animal bodies, in forest area, you must have seen that all types of such dead bodies are lying down. Other than human beings, no other organism is going to cremate it or bury it inside the soil or burn the dead bodies. Now, what happens to these bodies? On them, fungus grow. They absorb all the nutrients from these dead bodies and they grow. Your best known example is of your mushrooms. They are white in color. They do not have chlorophyll for photosynthesis. They grow on dead and decaying material, absorbing the nutrients from these dead bodies. Okay, so fungus is a next kingdom. Then animalia, if you consider, we all are animals. Okay, cat, dog, lamb, tiger, all birds, we human beings all belong to animalia. We all are heterotrophic. We cannot produce our own food with the help of photosynthesis. We do not have green pigment like plants, isn't it? And therefore, we all are heterotrophic mode of nutrition we all are following. So you see, on the basis of nutrition pattern, organisms which are having eukaryotic cell and multicellular can be classified into three kingdoms, that is fungi, fungi, then plantia and Antharia. Okay. The lifestyle, if you consider, we all know that plants are producers. They produce their own food, so they are the producers. They trap the sun's energy and perform photosynthesis. Then animals are consumers. They take away food and nutrients from these plants or other smaller organisms. And fungi are helping in decomposition. When the dead bodies, from the dead bodies, they are absorbing all the nutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, etc. and growing healthy. So the dead bodies start decaying. They will be decaying. So we can say that fungi are the decomposers. So that is their lifestyle process. Now, fifth category of classification that Whittaker considered this criteria for classification was phylogenetic relationship. Now, what is phylogenetic relationship? They are prokaryotes to eukaryotes, if we consider, or unicellular to multicellular, how they are going. Okay, the classification pattern is moving from primitive type of cell to modern type of cell, that is eukaryotic type of cell. This is the basic classification of living world, and we all have seen the examples and characteristics of all the organisms belonging to Monera. How they are? They all are unicellular. They are autotrophic or heterotrophic, not necessary that they should be autotrophic only. And they are all having prokaryotic type of cell. Okay. And their nucleus is not distinct because of any nuclear membrane. On the other hand, if you consider protistans, protista you see are also unicellular, but their nucleus is prominently seen separately, and they have pseudopodia, flagella, or a whip-like organ, flagella, or cilia-like hair-like structure in Paramecium you must have seen for locomotion, because they all lead a aquatic mode of life. For movement, amoeba is having pseudopodia, Paramecium having cilia, hair-like structure, and Euglena is having only one whip-like flagellum. All these things help in movement of these organisms in search of food and all. Okay. Then if they are autotrophic or heterotrophic is also a point of classification in protistans. You see, all others are heterotrophic. They depend upon other plants and green vegetation for their food. But Euglena, you see, Euglena and Volvox, both of them are having chloroplast in them. In that case, they are going to be autotrophic. They can perform photosynthesis because they do have chloroplast and so perform photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is there. And next we came to the fungus kingdom. You see, fungi are non-green. Mushroom you can remember. They are eukaryotic type of cell they have. They are, and of course, heterotrophic because they are non-green. Now, most of these are saprophytics. They depend upon the dead and decaying organism for their food. Their cell wall is made up of a tough and complex sugar-like chitin, material called as chitin, CHITIN. Okay. Some fungus are thread-like and many nuclei are present in the cytoplasm. For example, you see Baker's yeast, Aspergillus, Penicillium, from which antibiotics are made. That is also a type of fungus. Okay. And then after this, we take us 5 kingdom classification theory. We come up to classification of microorganisms. Microorganisms are also a very important part of the living world of this earth. Microbes, you see, can also be classified on the basis of type of cell they have. So again, we come up to prokaryotes and eukaryotic type of cell. Now, prokaryotes means primitive type of cell, and eukaryotes are having modern type of cell. Prokaryotes do not have a distinct nucleus bounded by a nuclear membrane, while eukaryote is going to have a distinct nucleus bounded with a membrane. So all the bacteria belong to prokaryotes. Microorganisms also, prokaryotes are mostly bacteria. You all know that they are unicellular mostly. Then sometimes many bacteria together will form a colony. Bacterial cell is prokaryotic, do not have a distinct nucleus, and cell organelles are absent totally. Now, they produce by simple binary fission. They are growing from the parent cell, and the favorable conditions, bacteria grow vigorously, and their number is will be doubled in just 20 minutes. Okay. Next, we can come up to Protistants. Protista, eukaryotic type, having a eukaryotic type of cell. Here we have examples like Paramecium and amoeba only it is, and they are found in soil, fresh water, as well as seawater. Some are found in the body of other organisms also. They are pathogenic. We too suffer from entamoeba. If we have entamoeba more in our intestine, we will have face dysentery and dehydration in our body. We need to go to the doctor to kill these organisms. Otherwise, we will lose all our energy. There is a great variation in cell structure, organs of locomotion, and mode of nutrition among the protozoans. Now, amoeba, paramecium are free living and they live in dirty nala water. That water that is moving in open nala system. Then entamoeba histolytica causes amoebiasis. In amoebiasis, you know, human being also suffer from it. The intestine is infested with them and they cause dehydration and dysentery-like condition. And the patient becomes very weak because of loss of nutrients. And Plasmodium vivax is known to cause malaria, which is transferred by the your mosquito, female Anopheles. Then Euglena is autotrophic. It has its own chloroplast, chlorophyll, and it performs its own photosynthesis. So no need of being parasitic to Euglena. They are less harmful as they are autotrophic. Next, we come to fungus. They are found on decaying organisms, organic matter and dead and decaying material they are growing. And these eukaryotic organisms, some are unicellular and visible with the, some are visible with the naked eye also. Saprophytic mode of nutrition they have. They absorb the food from dead and decaying organic matter. They reproduce sexually as well as asexually by cell division or by budding. Okay, the best example of this fungus is your Baker's yeast. They grow by your budding. Okay, budding type of process. Then Chlorella, Chlamydomonas are the other examples of algae we are coming up to. Algae, you know, algae are also microbes. They are aquatic, eukaryotic cell they have, and unicellular autotrophic organisms they are. Photosynthesis is carried out with the help of chloroplast that is present in them. Examples, first we told Chlamydomonas and Chlorella. But very few species of algae are unicellular. Most of them are multicellular and visible with the naked eye. Now, the Spirogyra belong to this category and they grow wherever there is water constantly present, flowing water or stagnant water. Everywhere we have that green colored layer which is very slippery. That is all this algae. Okay. Then last one microbe is the virus. Virus, you know, is known to be on the verge of living and non-living because they are living on the edge of living and non-living. Why? Because if they do not get a healthy body to survive, in that case, they lay dormant or as if dead. Okay. Viruses are extremely minute, very small among all the microorganisms. And they are found in the form of independent particles. Virus is a long molecule of DNA actually, DNA or RNA, and covered by a protein coat. Protein is necessary for them. Then viruses survive only in living plants or animal cell and produce their own protein with help of the host cell. They attack the host cell in which they grow, and they become free of the host cell if the host cell is destroyed. So even during viral infections, the doctors prescribe you antibiotic that kills the bacteria. If the bacterial host cell is destroyed, the virus inside will become dormant, inactive. Okay, and it cannot attack anyone then. These free viruses again infest the new cell bud. Okay, and then again they can become active if they enter any live cell. Viruses cause many diseases in plants and animals. These also we all have discussed with the chapter. In humans, they are known to cause polio, influenza, HIV. In cattle, they are known to have picorna virus. In plants also, tomato wilt, then tobacco mosaic are the diseases caused by virus. And in bacteria, when they enter the bacterial body, a bacteriophage is formed. And that becomes very active and attack the host body. And that is actually bacteriophage attacked by a virus. So these all things are included in your chapter number 1 that we have to revise, and you can ask me if any doubt is there still, and classification charts you can make in your copies. Okay. So bye all of you.